Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, back boxing. Now, man, wild news, man. There's been big talks between Jermall Charlo and Jaime Munguia to fight at 160. Understand that Jaime Munguia was a former 154 WBO champion, and ever since he went up to 160, he's been in the talks for the 160 WBO title belt because he was a former champion at 154. Going up to 160, you have first priority treatment to get the WBO title in the next weight class. Now, all that being said, man, the current champion at 160 is Demetrius Andrade, and he's going up to 168 to fight for the WBO title. Now, it's wild stuff, man. My boy Demetrius Andrade is going to the UK to fight Zach Parker for the WBO intern super middleweight title. So he's going to be going up in weight. Now, people have been saying that the fight with Jaime Munguia and Jermall Charlo is off, but my boy Oscar De La Hoya went on Twitter and said that no, actually the fight is going to be still on, and that they're committed to make this fight happen, whatever the costs. Now, this is from Oscar De La Hoya on Twitter. He says, finalizing Charlo versus Munguia is top priority. Golden Boy remains committed to our partner DAZN. Dance Boxing understands the magnitude of this fight and is willing and able to collaborate with Show Sports to get this done. I hope Showtime is on board. At Charlo Munguia. So that's from Oscar De La Hoya himself. This fight's gonna be a big fight. And understand, when Demetrius Andrade moves up to 168, because it's gonna happen, right? It's already on the books. Frank Warren won the purse bid. It's gonna be in the UK, and it's gonna be in the May 21st, 2022. So all that being said, understand that they're gonna be fighting, and when Demetrius Andrade moves up in weight, there's a chance that the WBO title could be vacant. I'm not sure how it works at the WBO, but some belts have it such that you can't go up in weight and still be the champion and maintain the belt at the same time. I think WBO is one of the organizations where you can't be the WBO champion in multiple divisions while holding the belt at the same time. I mean, I could be wrong, but the chances of Demetrius Andrade defending titles in two weight classes, that's extremely rare, and only a few boxers in boxing history ever did anything like that. So the chances are the belt will go vacant, and the Demetrius Andrade versus Jermall Charlo fight, the Jermall Charlo fight versus the Jaime Munguia fight will most likely be a unification fight. This happened before. If you actually look at Triple G in his resume, when he fought for a title, he actually got a title, and he actually fought another fighter for a title without him being champion, right? This is a vacant title, but it turns into a unification somehow, right? The guy was never a champion. So, if you look back in his resume, that's a thing. So, understand that, this has happened before in boxing. Another example I can give that's more, recent was the Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko fight. Vladimir Klitschko lost all of his titles to Tyson Fury. I understand when Anthony Joshua fought Vladimir Klitschko, those titles were vacant, but guess what? They threw the WBA title in there, right? So that became a unification fight. So understand that this happens in sport boxing, where a title will go vacant, and instead of the number one and number two fighter fighting for the title to become a champion, they'll throw the number one guy in there versus another champion and say it's a unification. So these are one of those things in boxing where things like that happen, and this is going to make it a big fight, a bigger fight, because unifications, when there's more than one belt in line, this makes the fight bigger, and that's facts. So, we're going to see how this whole thing plays out with Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade, but understand that this is one of the biggest fights in boxing, because these are multi-division world champions who are champion at the same time at not one division, but it seems like two division now, right? Jaime Munguia has always been championship level, and there's no doubt about mine, if he would fight the number one and number two guy at 160 after Demetrius Andrade moves up, that he would no doubt get that title. So Jaime Munguia is definitely an elite level fighter. He's not just a regular champion, he's a super elite fighter who's just that guy, right? I already broke down his record 1 or 2 videos ago, how he beat Saddam Ali after Saddam Ali beat Miguel Cotto, right? The guy couldn't go past round 4. He just walked through him, wasn't even close, right? So we're gonna see how this whole thing happens with Jaime Munguia and Jermall Charlo, but there's been a lot of trash talk between the both guys, and this is gonna be just one of those fights, man. This is gonna be one of those big fights that people are gonna be talking about. This is definitely one of those fights where people were building up Jaime Munguia for a while, and they're trying to make it such that trying to build a fighter up. But Jaime Munguia's got to the point in his career where he's gonna have to fight big names to become a bigger star. Fighting people, no names that people don't know about, is not gonna make him a bigger star. He's gonna have to take a chance, right? Now, like I said earlier, man, Triple G, if you actually look at his record, he fought Dominic Wade. That's the guy I was talking about. The guy was never a champion, but it was for another belt that Triple G didn't have before, right? So that's facts, man. If you look at the record before Dominic Wade, the IBF title was not on the line, but Dominic Wade was never a champion, but it was a vacant title that Triple G won, i.e. being a unification fight, right? So Triple G got a unification fight without really fighting a champion because the belt was vacant, but they threw the title in there because Dominic Wade was highly ranked, and they threw him in there. Instead of Dominic Wade fighting the number 1 and number 2 guy, they threw him in there with another champion and instead it's unification. This is the same thing happening to Jaime Munguia and Jermall Charlo right now, where Jaime Munguia isn't the champion, but he's on the brink of becoming champion, and they're gonna throw him in with Jermall Charlo and say it's a unification fight. But like I said earlier, Jaime Munguia was a former 154 champion before, so this doesn't really take anything away from Jaime Munguia, because there's no doubt in my mind that when Demetrius Andrade goes up in weight to 168, Jaime Munguia will be champion, no doubt about it. It's just no doubt about it. So, this is gonna be a big fight, man. Fight for the ages. This will definitely be the first unification fight for Jermall Charlo and Jaime Munguia, and this is the division that, the biggest win on Canelo's record is a Triple G fight at 160, middleweight fight, outside of the Floyd Mayweather fight, I guess, right? So the 160 division is stacked. A lot of people talk about it was 168, but all those fighters, man, they all got stopped by Canelo, and you don't want to fight people's leftovers. You want to sort of make your own lane. 160 division is basically like a version over there. The only fighter with really a loss is Triple G. Everyone else is undefeated. Anyway, so yeah, Murata is undefeated. Well, I guess he has one loss. He lost to Indom. But Demetrius Andrade is undefeated and Jermall Charlo is undefeated, right? And these fighters are just amazing fights, man. Amazing fights. And some fighters are regional. Understand that Murata, he's big in Japan. He's always fighting in Japan. And, there's a market for that. I'm surprised more fighters don't try to go to Japan. If you look at the smaller weight classes, there's a lot of champions down there that people just don't talk about. People talk about the monster anyway. They talk about him though, but there's a really big market in boxing for the Japanese market, and people always want to fight in their hometown, but, being the villain, going to a foreign country, that's how stars are made. Demetrius Andrade is doing it right now by going to UK, fighting Zach Parker. He's doing a similar thing that Earl Spence Jr. did. So, that being said, man, this is a make or break it for either fighter, and this would really solidify him as that guy at middleweight to fight, because after Triple G fights the Asian kid, Murata, there'd be 2 unified champions, and there's only one thing left to do, and that's to fight each other. So this is definitely going to change the landscape of the middleweight division, man. This is going to change the landscape of the middleweight division for sure, and these fighters are going to have to see each other, because they're basically 2 fights away from being undisputed, man. Soon as Triple G fights Inoue, Murata, and then that's the unification right there. And then whenever Jermall Charlo fights Jaime Munguia, that's the unification right there. That means both champions have 2 or 4 titles, and they can see each other. 2 fights away from becoming undisputed. Wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. So yeah, man. Let me know you guys feel about it though. Like, comment, subscribe. It's the Empire. Geoboxing Empire. Peace. Geoboxing.